guys, it's Miss Sandy with Calvert Library, and welcome to another edition of Bonus Bites. So today I want to talk about one of my very favorite chapter books. It's the first book in a series by author Blue Balliett, and it's called Chasing Vermeer. Now, if you haven't had a chance to read this story yet, I highly recommend it. And if you haven't, here's your perfect opportunity to get a little taste. Pause the video right now, go to the link in the description, and go to our podcast called Book Bites. On Book Bites, we read the first chapter of lots of different stories, and one of them that you can find is Chasing Vermeer. So go ahead, go listen to the first chapter. I'll wait here. What'd you think? Pretty cool, huh? I love a book that starts with a mystery like that. And this one has lots of mysteries and lots of puzzles to solve. The main one involves Vermeer. Who is Vermeer? Vermeer was a painter. His name was Johannes Vermeer, and he was a famous Dutch painter in the 17th century. Now, not very many of his works still exist. He didn't paint very many in his lifetime, and only about 30 of them are still in existence. But the really interesting thing about Vermeer is that unlike a lot of people that were painting in that time, most people who were being painted in the 17th century were very wealthy people. They were people who could afford to have their portraits painted. So kings and queens and members of the court. But Vermeer and the other people who painted like him were much more interested in paintings of just ordinary people doing ordinary things. And their paintings are one of the clues that historians use to know what life was like for just regular people 300 years ago. So you may have seen a couple of his paintings. Maybe you're not even sure if you've seen them, but maybe you've seen this one that's usually called the Milkmaid. Definitely just an ordinary woman doing some work around the house. And this one is probably his most famous one. This one is called The Girl with the Pearl Earring. That one you might have seen before. But they're beautiful paintings, but they also are very important for historians to look at to see what people wore, see what their houses looked like, see what kind of things they had in them. So it's a wonderful story about the painter. But it's also a fantastic mystery. And drawn into this mystery are our two heroes, our two protagonists of our story, a little girl named Petra and a little boy named Calder. So Calder has a very interesting thing that he carries around in his pockets, and they're called pentaminoes. And pentaminoes come in a set. There's 12 of them in a set, and each of them has 5 pieces to it. You can see all of these have 5 little boxes. If you ever play the game Tetris, they might look kind of familiar. They use shapes like that in Tetris. But see, each of them has 5, and each piece borders another one on at least one side. So, but they're all in different shapes, you can see, and they're named after the letters that they look like. So that one is an X, and that one is a W, and a T, and an L. Some of them look a little less like the shapes that they're named after. Some of them takes you a second. Like if we looked at this one, you might think that that was a C, right? But actually, you hold it this way, and that's a U. So a little tricky sometimes. But Calder carries these around in his pockets, I think kind of as a security blanket. But the characters also use these as inspiration sometimes. So if they're trying to come up with the next step or try to figure out a clue, Calder will reach into his pocket and pull out one of these shapes, and they'll use that as an idea, as a way to figure out what they should do next. So for instance, if I wanted to say, let's see, what should I have for dinner tonight? And I would reach in and find, W. What should I have for dinner? I should have some watermelon. That's what I should have for my dinner tonight. So you can do lots of really cool things with these, and you can use them to make neat pictures. You can use them as a puzzle. Now, I bought these, obviously. I didn't make these myself. I bought these from a store, but it turns out it is super easy to make your own set of pentaminoes. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to show you how to make some pentaminoes, and then we're going to show you all the cool things that you can do with them. So all that you're going to need to make your pentaminoes is some paper. Oh, I recommend something a little bit thicker, even cardboard, like a thin cardboard box, like a cereal box would be great. But you can use construction paper, you can use cardstock, you can use regular paper too, but you want something a little bit thicker if you can find it. Then you're going to need a ruler, you're going to need a pair of scissors, and you're going to need something to write with. And that's it. So why don't you go gather up your supplies. We're going to go move over to the table, and I'll show you how to make your cool pentaminoes. All right, welcome back. Got all your supplies? You see, I'm ready to go. I've got a nice sharp pencil. I've got a good pair of scissors. I've got my trusty ruler. And I have my paper. So I mentioned I'm going to use an old cereal box here for my paper just because it's nice and sturdy. Anything that you want to use, you can. But like I said, you want to sturdier the better. So the first thing I want to do is make one square. I want to make a nice even square. Because remember, all of my pentaminoes are made out of 5 different squares that are put together. So if I have one nice square, then I can build all of my other pieces off of that, right? So these pieces are about 1 inch, I believe. Let me see about that. So these pentaminoes are about 1 inch, based on 1 inch square. So if you want something about that size, then you want to do 1 inch. You can make pentaminoes any size. You can make giant pentaminoes if you wanted to, I suppose, if you had enough material. You're going to need a pretty fair amount of boxes to make this happen. But let's start by making our square. So I'm going to cut off this little piece at the bottom. This isn't that useful down there because it's not all square, right? So let's chop that right off of there. All right, so let's use my ruler to find 1 inch from the bottom corner here. Make sure I'm even along the bottom and I'm even along the side. And I can trace like that, like that. Nice sharp pencil will get you right close to where you want to be too. And then I'm just going to cut that. 1 and 2. There we go. All right, so I have my inch square. Oop. Flying all over the place. I have my inch square. So now I can use this to make all of the other pieces of my pentaminoes. I just have to put them in the right order, right? I'm going to put up a sheet here in just a moment so that you have a really good picture of what all of these look like so that you can make your own at home. But for instance, let's just start down here and let's see which one should we make first. Let's make my... Ooh, let's make the easiest one. Let's make the straight up one here. All right, so we're just going to trace this. I'm going to mark it as we go up the side to see how high it needs to be. 1, 2, these five straight up, right? 3, 4, and 5. So there's the very top of my piece. And I'm going to trace that all the way across like that. Make sure that I've got that side marked really well because then I can bring my ruler in. And again, holding against the bottom here to give me a nice edge. I can do just like that. Now, maybe I want to make those little lines in there too, just like these pentaminoes have. Maybe I want to make those little cross pieces too. So let's go ahead and do that before I cut this out. And we're just going to angle there. There's 1 square. And 2 squares. 3 squares. And the last line will give me my 4th and 5th square. All right. Cut that out. Try to be right on the lines if you can. And there we are. So there's my very first pentamino piece. And you just keep building them to make them all of the different shapes that you need to. So pretty easy. You can take, after you're done cutting them all out, you can decorate these any way you want. You can color them different colors if you like. You can make them all sorts of decoration, or you can just leave them plain. But now, what can you do with the pentaminoes? So let's say that you've gotten your pentaminoes all cut out. You've used all of your supplies here. What can we do with them? So let me show you. When you have all the pieces here, you can be as creative as you want with this. Sometimes you could just make pictures with it. So let's see, maybe a nice big tree sticking out here. That's a palm tree, and it's got some grass down here at the bottom growing, something like that. Maybe there's somebody sitting in a little lounge chair. You can use your imagination. But the thing that I like to do with them is to try to make them into rectangles. So here we go back to Tetris again. So we have to try to look at our pieces and see in what way can we put them together in order to make them into a perfect rectangle. Let's see. Ooh, that one looks good there. What do you think? Let's see. Oh, look at this one. Fits perfectly right there, doesn't it? Oh, I can put this one along there. What do we think? All right, we're doing well here. Let's see. How about that one there? You guys tell me. I can't hear you, but you can tell me. Uh-oh. I think I'm reaching a stopping point already. Oh, that's okay. That's not bad like that. What do you think? That's not going to work. So there are a million different ways that you can put, ooh, that one's good. There's a million different ways that you can put these together into a million different rectangle shapes. And it is very hard to stop working on it once you start working on it because you're so sure you've almost got it. You're almost there. Well, oh, like that, see? Okay, we're making good progress. Let's see. I think we've reached a stopping point, haven't we? All right, so that didn't work. What that just means that I have to start over again, or I have to make some adjustments, or I have to do something a little bit different. It's very addictive. It's very hard to walk away from pentaminoes when you think you've almost got it. So lots and lots of fun to play with and make your own pictures. I'm going to try it one more time. Well, I hope you had fun with that project. I hope that you will check out Chasing Vermeer if you've not had a chance to read it. And, oh, one more thing I almost forgot to tell you. There is a puzzle within the book, too. See, so many puzzles. This is why I love this book so much. Right here at the very beginning of the book, the author tells us that there is a challenge for us. She says, about the artwork, a challenge to the reader. If you look carefully at Brett Hellquist's chapter illustrations, you will find a hidden message. It's related to the pentamino code in the book, but not presented in exactly the same way. A certain living creature plays a part in deciphering the code, and pieces of the message appear in the artwork at regular intervals that create a pattern within the book. And here's a hint. This pattern is even, but odd. It has as many pieces as a set of pentaminoes. So be sure to check out Chasing Vermeer and see if you can solve the code. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Check out Calvert Library's social media feeds for lots more programs for the whole family. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.